That'd be me. I'd be very excited too. But unfortunately, I have to do the weather. I can't go shopping at the moment. All right, rain and cloudy today. Good shopping day. Indoors, really better than outdoors, I suppose. But if you're outdoors, just grab the umbrella. It's going to be very mild. Well above seasonal today. Really abruptly drop later on this afternoon into the evening, like maybe 2 or 3 degrees per hour. So a big, push of cold air. Tomorrow morning, there's a potential after we get rain all day and our roads are a little bit wet. We could get some freezing as the temperatures really get below that 0-degree mark. So heads up and go slow tomorrow morning. 15 degrees right now. That's crazy. Wow. I just say it like, because it's no big deal. 15 degrees this time of year. Very, very mild. 12 currently in Toronto, minus 12 in Timmins. So you can see the difference in that air mass. There's the snow up to the north of Sudbury. Sudbury now switching over to snow, but all rain for us. And the only chance of a few flurries is just maybe just a dusting overnight, but probably that's not even going to happen. But, as soon as we get close to that -1 or 0 mark, you can definitely get a little dusting of snow. Okay, there we go. Hanover, Shelburne, back toward the west through Stratford, Kitchener, Guelph, all getting into some showers probably in the next half hour. Only about 10 to 15 millimeters of rain, but a bit of an overcast day. So for more updates and more info, here's your local forecast right now. Welcome in for a look at the radar on this Friday. We do have rain moving in, and it's going to be pretty light in nature, maybe about 5 to 15 millimeters of rain. That's about all. But the bulk of the rain still pushing to the west, but it is on the way, knocking on our door. Here's a look at the rainfall forecast. And again, you can see it's not a whole lot, just about 5 to 15 millimeters. That's with a cold front. We'll keep you posted with that. We'll send it to Kevin Yard right now. Time for Share Your Weather on your Friday. I'm Jaclyn Whittal, and it's great to have you along. We got some nice shots today. One particular one, I'll explain exactly how we get these in the atmosphere. So Richmond, BC, this is around 5 degrees, lots of sunshine. Let's go to the next one. We call this either a sun halo or a moon halo. And you see the moon, and this is when it reflects basically a circle around it due to ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Well, haven't we been spoiled? We have been above seasonal for at least the last month or two, pretty well by and large overall. Now, we talk about patterns in the long range. So, yes, we've had flip-flops either way, but overall, it's been very mild. No sign, Dr. Doug tells me, of any major Arctic outbreaks yet for December either, which is great news. Again, not that you can't get a little shot of cold air here and there. So let's talk about the cold air we're going to get this weekend. So we have temperatures, sitting at around, 14 degrees Friday morning, and then we're going to be dropping down to feeling like about -2 or -3 Saturday morning. So, yeah, definitely cooler, but not terrible. Cold front works its way through. I want to take a look ahead, watching the next system. Now, this system, with the models, there's been kind of disagreements about, whether there be snow or no snow, or if we'd be in the rain section or the snow section. It's going to be rain for us by Tuesday, and another bump up in terms of our temperatures. But on the backside, once the system clears, it's possible we can get into some mixing and maybe even some snow squalls by midweek. 4 degrees for Sunday, 5 for Newmarket, like a little bit of a roller coaster ride. We drop below 0, we get back up to 4. Today, up to 15. Just incredible. 4 degrees as we look ahead on our Sunday in terms of their temperatures. The prairies have seen -20s this week, so they also become a little bit more mild, which would be nice. Look at the mild air, and then you say, well, geez, how can we get a snow flurry if it's 8? Well, that's because we could be seeing in the overnight hours and the morning hours a little bit of mixing taking play there. That's when I look at your long-range forecast. I would be, for sure. I think I may have to sneak out and do a little bit of Christmas shopping for someone else, not me. Okay, maybe I'll buy a purse or so. Just one thing. 13 degrees with some rain showers today, and the bulk of the rain pushing through central Ontario and also along the Huron shoreline. It's on the way for the Toronto market, over the next probably half hour to an hour, but it's moving very slowly. So if you're going out and doing some shopping today, you'll want to have that umbrella. You'll also want to have a raincoat, but you'll want to have a couple layers maybe in the trunk that you could go grab if you're at the mall, because it's going to be getting cooler by the time you go home tonight. So Kitchener, in through Guelph, we're also seeing some rain beginning, and it won't stop for most of the day. It's going to be overcast and not the best day. Probably a good day to be indoors shopping or doing anything indoors, really, for that matter. The bulk of the heaviest rain is still back toward the west through Illinois. Interesting thing about the storm is we have a temperature gradient or boundary or difference between temperatures that are just so impressive. We're at about 14, 15. Meanwhile, Timmins is feeling close to -20. So for more details on your temperature story and the rain, here's your local forecast right now. I love that segment. That's called Captured. And by the way, you can get all of our different features and segments that we produce here at the Weather Network on theweathernetwork.com. And also, I want to mention another thing as I point to you on this Friday morning. Now, listen up. We have our winter forecast that's being released November 30th, 9 p.m. You can find out how 2015 and 2016 winter season is shaping up to look like. Okay, Dr. Doug will have the details. All right, let's to the north and our nice channel of warm air to the east and south. So that's why we're up around 14, 15 degrees this morning. And it was like that around 3, 4 a.m. That cold air, though, is advecting in, or just a fancy word for saying moving in. And you just see it on the radar. Look at where that snow is. That's colder air. As long as it's cold enough aloft, we can support that snowflake right at the surface, as long as it's cold at the surface, too. So we have rain, though. Far too mild to support that snowflake down through southwestern Ontario. Could be slick out on those roads today. If you're out on the major routes, just go a little slower, because this is the future radar. And look at the swath of heavy rain. Picking up on some of that yellow reflectivity means some heavy downpour potential. So to find out exact timing, here's your local forecast. Welcome in for a look at your long-range forecast. It's the weekend, and you've probably heard rumors that the temperatures are going to be dropping. If you've been watching the last couple days, Dr. Doug and I have been preparing you for that. That's because of this cold front that's going to work through that is bringing us the rain today. Now, once the front is passed, I want to look ahead. So let's look at Saturday. The front moves to the Atlantic provinces. So because of that cold air and the mild air to the south, a new developing low moves in by early next week. We had also talked about this storm, but some of the models had, they're having trouble handling it. We weren't sure exactly if it was going to be a storm or not. Sometimes models just come up with a storm and then it's not there the next run side. So Sunday, 4 for Toronto, 5 in Newmarket, Niagara Falls at 4. Sunday, feels like temperatures, especially up in the north, feel closer to -7. 3 degrees, partly cloudy by Monday here but there you go. That's the rain and the snow, 8 degrees. So a big warm up out ahead of it, and then squalls likely by midweek.